Hi everybody, welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. I wanted to hop on here and give you my November reading wrap up. Hey everybody, welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. If you're new here, please subscribe. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm sorry I haven't posted hardly anything in the month of November. That's because I've been crazy busy with music for church and with grad school and with my job. And I will get to a video on my paper for grad school. I am not doing that in this video. This video, I'm going to talk about fiction that I've read. But I did want to tell you, most of what I've read in the month of November has been research-based on the impact of technology on the reading brain. So, for example, words on screen and the fate of reading in a digital world. And this one has a recommendation by Nicholas Carr, author of The Shallows. And I definitely quoted Nicholas Carr's book, The Shallows, in my research paper, where Nicholas Carr essentially is saying that, technology is creating a lack of deeper thinking because the information comes faster. And so we don't reflect as much as we're reading. Marianne Wolf says the same thing in Reader Come Home. And I've talked about that in another video, but that was the emphasis of my paper for grad school. And then also The Happiness Effect. I highly recommend this book by Donna Freitas. I think it's Freitas or Freitas. And this is a really good book. It's a woman, how social media is driving a generation to appear perfect at any cost. And this woman researches scads and scads of college students and interviews them about Facebook, social media in general, cyberbullying, Instagram. And it just really, it talks a lot about how the way we want to appear on social media can influence us, how we are so busy trying to look happy that we're actually sacrificing our happiness, hence the name, The Happiness Effect. So that is my nonfiction this month, but I want to tell you now about the entertainment that I've read this month. And like I say, it hasn't been a whole lot because I've been really living in grad school. Should I edit that out? Thonk. I think I'll leave that in. But I've been living in the world of grad school. So research on the impact of technology on the reading brain. However, I did manage to get 3 books for fun. And I wasn't really thrilled with them. One of them was good. The other 2 were meh, but I'm going to tell you about them anyway, because some of them were popular anyway. So it might just be me. It really might be me. So the first book that I read this month for fun was The Recovery Agent by Janet Evanovich. And that is, if you know Janet Evanovich, she's kind of known for the Stephanie Plum series. She's actually written other books that are very good. I've read some of them. She wrote a cute little romance that I loved. It was like co-written with someone else. I think it's called Love in a Nutshell. But anyway, she's largely known for the Stephanie Plum series. What is she? She's a bail bondsman or something, and she goes looking for people for her, I think it's for bail bonds. And I've read some of those books and they're fun. This is a new series that Janet Evanovich has started, and it's called, I'm just checking my notes, it's called the Gabriella Rose series. So Gabriella Rose is a recovery agent. She's a woman who is very good at helping people recover whatever it is that they have had stolen or lost, usually stolen, or just something they're looking for, like maybe art that has been stolen or money that's been embezzled. In the case of the first book, The Recovery Agent, she is looking through the jungles of Peru for, I think it's the Ring of Solomon. And so I think she lives in New York, but she goes to Peru to try and find this ring because she's offered a substantial amount of money for the ring. And she ends up getting involved again with her ex-husband. His name, I wrote it down. His name was Rafer. and yeah, I had to write that down because Rafer, I mean, that's just a name I forgot. But Gabriella and Rafer, they are divorced. And so they get together and they go on this hunt for this ring because Rafer just wants to protect her and he still has feelings for her even though they're divorced. So there's this interesting dynamic between the two. There's this combative hostility because they're a divorced couple, but there's also a deep abiding love in each other too, because they once upon a time were married and they were childhood sweethearts as well. So there's a whole history there. And Janet Evanovich, you know, that's true to form in her books. Stephanie Plum has in those books some family members that are interesting and colorful, and the same I found in The Recovery Agent. So I'm really excited about the Gabriella Rose series, Janet Evanovich's newer series of books. And the first one was The Recovery Agent, and I do recommend that one. I really enjoyed that one. The next book that I read, I really don't know if I should have read it. It was called The X Hex, and there was a lot of hype about that when it came out, at least things I heard, a lot of people talking about it. I saw it on a lot of bookshelves, and so I just bought into what was popular. I saw the book and I thought, oh, okay, everyone's saying this is good, must be good. I did not care for it. I don't recommend it. I did finish it because it was an audiobook and I was desperate for a break from all of the things in my life. Very stressful month, like I keep saying, and I won't bore you with that. But it was an audiobook, and so I listened to it because I could do that while I was cleaning or cooking or doing whatever else, driving. So the Ex Hex, it started really cute. I did think it would be really good. It started with this girl, and I think she's 17, and she gets dumped by her boyfriend. And come to find out, she's actually a witch. She's biologically the daughter of a witch. She's living with her cousin and her aunt, who are also witches, in a world where most people are not witches. So like in our modern society, but actually some of the characters are witches and we don't really know that. You know, the average mortal doesn't know that. So she casts a spell with her cousin on this boy that broke her heart. And she's so angry with him and she's devastated by the breakup. And so she casts this spell on him. And then you fast forward years later and the two have to get together to resolve a problem, because the spell has kind of caused some things to go haywire in the little small college town. And so the boyfriend that she broke up with him, but because she found out he was betrothed to be married to another witch, he comes back into her small town and they get together, and it's just, you know, they have an interesting relationship because she's so angry that he broke her heart when she was 17, but then come to find out this spell she cast on him is causing all kinds of havoc in the town and in his life. And I will just say, some people are okay with this, and I would be a hypocrite maybe if I were overly critical, because I did listen to the audiobook as I was doing various things around the house, but it should really be called The Ex Hex because it was just a very steamy book. There was a lot of heaving, and I really felt uncomfortable with some of that. Like I had to just sort of turn the volume down and focus on other things sometimes. I know maybe I'm a prude, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it depends on your perspective. I don't really like a book with a lot of heaving, and I've said that before. You know, the romance that goes a little too far. So the Ex Hex, that's, if you want to call it a romance, I guess it's a romance. But to me, it's just a lot of, I don't know, physical intimacy that I think they just too much of it in that book. There were some funny things between the witch, the main character whose name is Vivi, and her cousin. I think her cousin's name was Gwen. Yeah, her cousin Gwen. Vivi and Gwen, they kept me in the book because Vivi was the main character and her cousin Gwen, they were just hilarious, the two of them together. And then they had this really sweet, Vivi had this really sweet aunt, I guess it would be Gwen's mother. And then the ex-boyfriend, another one with an odd name. His name was Reese. I think it was Reese or Rise or something. And he was like a warlock, although we don't say warlock anymore. Now he's just a guy witch, whatever. I don't know. It had some funny, cute things between Vivi and her cousin Gwen, but I didn't really care for all the heaving. So take it how you will. Some people love that book. I read it. It had some cute things in it. The Last Two Vanish by Miranda is the final book that I read. They were all audiobooks I listened to because, like I say, I needed to listen to things while I was getting other stuff done. The Last Two Vanish was pretty good audiobook, but if it were like a read the book, I don't think it would have held my interest. Again, because it was something I could listen to sort of entertain me as white noise while I was doing other things, I finished the book. But if it were like a sit down, read it, it probably would not have held my attention. There were times in the book that I got bored, but I have to tell you, I loved Miranda's book, All the Missing Girls. And this kind of had that vibe. It was sort of similar to Miranda's book, All the Missing Girls, and, you know, same author. So The Last to Vanish, I did finish because I loved All the Missing Girls. So, and it was similar in that it was the story of missing people, and it was about one character who's trying to figure out how did these people end up missing, what happened, and it was just, I like that aspect of it. Now, All the Missing Girls that I read years ago, that one is the story of a girl and her high school friend ends up missing, and then this other girl ends up missing. And the reason I liked that book is because I loved the dynamic of the friendship. I loved the person telling the story, and she's talking about this friendship that she had when she was younger that was not all that healthy. And I could relate to that. I could relate to, you know, how you want to fit in with somebody when you're younger. When I was a teenager, I had a friend that I thought was my friend, but really she was just kind of a toxic friend. And so it was that kind of relationship in that book, and that's what kept me interested. And then the mystery of what happened to this friend and why is she gone and the other one's still in the story, that something obviously happened. So I do recommend All the Missing Girls by Miranda. But The Last to Vanish, it had a lot of that vibe. It was, you know, a lot of these people are missing, and how did they end up missing? Is there foul play, or did they just, you know, were they harmed by nature? Because it is like a wilderness. They are in Cutter's Pass, and the main character, Abby, is the hotel manager at Cutter's Pass, and she rents a room to this guy. I wrote his name down, Landon West. And Landon West has checked into the hotel because his brother was a journalist who disappeared from Cutter's West. I think within a year, maybe a year ago. And she checks him in and allows him to rent the room. But actually the people in Cutter's Pass are very they're not very trusting of outsiders, and it's kind of a creepy town where the people who are locals, there's something going on with that. And Abby herself is sort of an outsider. She's moved to the town 10 years ago, and she's sort of been taken in by her aunt, and she works at her aunt's hotel, and she allows this guy to check in. And when I say allows, I mean because she does say early in the book, her aunt probably would have said, sorry, there's no room available, because he was from another state, and he had an Audi, and he just wasn't like the local kind of guy. And so come to find out, he's looking for his brother who disappeared, and the brother was a journalist researching some other disappearances in that town. And so there was first the Fraternity Four, which was a group of college-age guys who went hiking and never came back. And it's assumed that they probably died in the wilderness, but there's some suspicion as to how did they die, or did they die? Did they just disappear and go off somewhere? Did they want to disappear? Because the book does kind of hint at that too. Some people just don't want to be found. And then later, a girl named Alice comes along and she disappears. And then after that, a girl named Farrah, like, I guess like Farrah Fawcett. Farah comes along and she disappears. And so Abby's telling the story of all these people in her town who have disappeared. And this is over the course of 25 years. So it's not all that strange that there would be, 5 or 6 disappearances in the wilderness. You know, people do hike out in the wilderness in this book. But the main character, Abby, is wondering what happened to these disappearances. Are they connected? And then this character, Landon, wants to find out about his brother. So it becomes sort of a mystery in that. And then you find out about Abby's relationship as an outsider looking in this town. She's lived there 10 years, and yet there are people who still don't accept her. So The Last Two Vanish, it was, I'd say maybe 3 out of 5 stars for me. All the Missing Girls, though, I really enjoyed, and that's why I kept going with the book. And I would say Recovery Agent was maybe 4 stars, and the Ex Hex, I just was a victim of peer pressure. I just finished the book because it was so popular. I really don't know why I bothered with that book, but the X Hex, I guess because I did enjoy the relationship between the 2 cousins. And so it was a cute story about the 2 women. But the thing about the X, it's like, yeah, okay. Anyway, that's what I've read this month. And in addition to my many research studies and books about the impact of technology on the reading brain, I hope to do a video on this soon. And also I'm preparing for the Christmas music at my church, and that seemed well received when I posted the song I did for Thanksgiving. If you're interested, I posted Blessings by Laura Story. I sang that at my church. And since it was well received, I will try to post myself singing in the Christmas service at my church. I will be singing What Child Is This? O Come, Emmanuel. And then maybe I will sing Mary, Did You Know? That one's still up in the air. So anyway, that's all I've got going on lately. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to post. Thank you to those of you who are still subscribed and hanging in there. And welcome to anyone new. Bye-bye for now.